Nazli Choucri. I'm on the faculty in the political science department, and I work in areas that are at the frontiers of the field, kind of pushing the field out, about questions that are central to the field. For example, I started working on causes of war. Most of the work on causes of war focuses on who pushed the button, who made the decision to go to war, what were the arms races that led to that. But there was, at the time, very little work about the background condition that eventually led. And my early work was about arguing, and with quantitative data and statistical analysis, that by the time the background conditions had unfolded, evolved over time, the probabilities of war were very, very high. So even a really kind set of leaders would have found it very difficult to de-escalate. So that was one example of pushing the frontier, impacting negatively on their environment. And the idea of sustainability hadn't even emerged. There were ideas of eco-something, but not sustainability. And in the social sciences and in my field, in political science, this was beyond, it was not part of it. But gradually, it became essential not only to develop courses, because students were asking for them, but to develop the theoretical foundations that we did not have. Because the social sciences were built to separate humans from nature, very carefully over time, and then to take different aspects of human behavior and separate them into different fields. And the notion of multidisciplinarity, the fact that we're all kind of interconnected in some fashion, was alien. But MIT has been one of the few institutions that early on, I mean 20, 30 years ago, recognized how important it was to have the capability for multidisciplinary work. And that then led to the current research that I'm now involved in. The current research is pushing the frontier in the political science field about cyber politics and the importance of cyberspace in being a venue for human interactions, conflict, as well as cooperation. This is an area in which the policy domain in Washington has moved faster than the political science, to some extent faster. The creation of the cyber czar, the creation of cyber-focused groups, policies, entities in various agencies, but they're all unconnected to each other. There's still more connectivity to be done. And we know about threats to security, potentials for denial of service. We have now language about cyber insecurity, cyber war, cyber sabotage, cyber espionage, you name it, it's evolving. Yeah? But these are words we have not yet worked out what their manifestations are. And the most interesting part of all is that in the physical world, the social world, we know about territorial boundaries. This is my piece of the territory, my country. Across this line, it's your country. But what cyber and environment have in common is the fluidity. You know, if I pollute here, it's not going to stay here. It's going to hurt. And in the cyber domain, the jurisdiction of the state, of the country, has not yet, for good reason, been able to impose itself on the traffic. And what we're worried about now is that the image of, the early image of cyberspace, internet constructed in large part with major MIT participation eons ago, open society, open communication, open access, is being undermined by political authorities, by states, by desire of governments to kind of regulate and control, but it's not easy to do, and they're trying to figure out how to do it. So underneath all this is really an emergent major contention in international politics. I won't say leading to war, no, but I will say a serious one, and that is, will we be able to maintain the internet and cyberspace and that arena of interaction relatively open, or will it be compartmentalized and look more like what the Chinese government and China has been able to do, which is contain it? Well, we are now in a situation where we're operating in parallel tracks. On the one hand, in international politics, there's concern about cyber governance, how to be more effective, and there's literally a major conflict going on there. between those that want the private sector to have a dominant hand, keep it open, etc., and those that argue that, well, international institutions like the ITU have done a good job managing international politics, and they should take more of a hand in the management of cyberspace. So it's ICANN, ITU. I'm simplifying. So that's one line of politics. The other line is threats to security, cyber espionage, who denied services to whom and why, etc. Parallel tracks, duality. And it's really quite important that somehow they converge, because we're living in one world now. We can't talk about developing rules and governance and principles for governing without recognizing that there's parts of what we want to govern is going off on its own way.